welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to round 4 of 5 here at FNM, hosted by Nerd Rage Gaming. I'm your host, Andrew Donnelly. With me, as always, my co-host, not Tim, but Matthew Robert Dow. Matt, I think your hero's back in the booth, baby.
Patriot missile?
Patriot? Oh no, wait a minute. Boom!
There we go. Last week's FNM winner, Dan Cardenas, our hero, playing Jeskai Heroic versus Tommy Tomsovic, who we saw earlier.
Playing the Patriot missile. Dang. And they are good to go.
They are good to go. Once they're done shuffling here. Two good friends battling out here. Have the same KMC Hypermat, or like forest green sleeves. I do like Patriot missile in this matchup. I
agree.
So, yeah, just especially with Wild Slash, card is real good against the Heroic deck. And Mana Strider too. So I think Tommy's got a pretty favorable matchup here against Dan, but we'll see. Heroic is pretty explosive, especially this this new build with Teamer Battle Rage. Dan likes to call it the Norman Special after the innovator of the deck, Norman Cohen.
Norman Cohen, is that the owner of NRG, right?
Yeah, the old man owner. Dan gonna mulligan. Tommy gonna keep. Looks like a pretty good one from Tommy. He's got a Lightning Strike and a Mana Strider. Two cards that are pretty good in this matchup.
Not only are these guys super good friends, but also rep the shop at like every tournament they go to.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure neither of them have any other clothes besides this Nerd Rage gear.
They love it.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, that is probably one of the most popular things on the site right now. I know we're out of stock currently, but Norm just placed an order for a refill. Nerd Rage gear is coming, baby. People
Nice.
want it. Like hoodies, zip-up hoodies, t-shirts. It's nuts.
You should start a clothing line.
I should. I'm fashionable.
This store, you should definitely be like Echo.
Not as fashionable as you. I will admit, I was a little, granted I only had 4 hours of sleep, I was a little haggard at the beginning of the SCG. You came in like a stud. I just want to point that out. You looked great at regionals.
Yeah, I can look better.
Really?
I mean, I've been called, let's see, this week. I was called Spiffy this week.
Okay, that's a good
at
one.
Work. I don't know if that was a...
You can look better than you do at regionals to show up for one of these things?
Yeah, man. That was nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
I looked awful.
You always look awful.
That's not true. Okay, it's partially true. I've tried to look somewhat better, but tank tops we need to get. Tank tops we need, but regardless, Dan's leading off with the Scryland in Heroic here, so he decided to keep up 5?
He's got a couple... Yeah, Dan's mulligan to 5 here, and he's got a couple of lands. I don't know if he has any creatures. Looks like he has an Ordeal of Thassa, so...
I assume these two have played this matchup a ton.
Tommy used to play the Heroic deck, so...
Yeah.
Dan does have a creature. It's a Seeker of the Way. Let's see if he's going to choose to protect it. Nope. Going to let it die to Lightning Strike. So... Going to fetch for an island off of the Flooded Train and play a Seeker. Pass back to Tommy. I imagine.
Now, we know Seeker's not our favorite lead here, but do we think with Dan playing the Jeskai version, it's a little bit better? I mean, we obviously like the turn 1 favored, but...
It's a creature, so I'm going to play it, but
sure.
I'm probably, with God's Willing in my hand, going to just slow roll this card and like play it next turn with God's Willing backup, especially if we have an Ordeal of Thassa in hand, because we really just need this creature not to die. So,
especially on a mull.
Yeah, right, especially on the mulligan. We have one creature, it can't die. If this creature dies, we lose.
You can see Chatty Dan Cardenas. I know when he just recently played you, he's a chatty one. He likes to get in his opponent's head. Likes to talk it up.
Tommy says, "I'll Lightning Strike your one creature," and Dan will draw a Teamer Battle Rage. So, and pass back.
And that's not where we want to be. Man, what about a turn 3 Shu Yun there?
That card would also probably die to a removal spell.
Yeah, most likely.
Tommy's just gonna Mantis Rider, take a damage, hit Dan for 3. So Tommy's got 2 Mantis Riders in hand. Dan has no creatures on board and a bunch of spells in his hand. There's a Wild Slash off the top. So imagine if Tommy has another land here.
Second Mantis Rider.
2 Mantis Riders.
Jeez.
Get a 10. This card's super good.
Definitely.
Especially against an opponent that has no creatures. And there's that dang Evolving Wilds.
That's it, baby. That's Patriot missile got fired from offshore and came crashing down.
That was 2 Patriot missiles right there.
That's brutal. Dan Cardenas on the mull to 5 though. You kind of expect, you're going to scoop that up.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said,
tough game.
I think you have to protect that one creature you have a little bit better.
Yeah, very true.
So.
Especially if you have the Gods Willing. And,
Yeah,
and when it comes to this matchup, hey, I'll take your advice.
Yeah, I'm super bad at it, but take my advice. So, let's move to sideboards here.
Hit me.
Hit you? Like, physically, you want me to hit you?
I'd prefer if you just told me the cards on the
okay,
sideboard.
sure,
but...
I could do that. All right. So, we went over Tommy's decks before, so we'll go over it one more time for all of you lovers of Patriot Missile. Tommy's got 3 Anger of the Gods, 2 Brimaz King of Oreskos, 1 Chandra Pyromaster, 3 Disdainful Strokes, 2 Glare of Heresies, a Negate, a Sarkin the Dragon Speaker, Treasure Cruise, and a Valorous Stance.
Mm-hmm.
I like Glare of Heresy here. I also like Valorous Stance here.
Sure.
I like Brimaz here. Potentially a Negate. Cards I think people bring in too often against the Heroic deck that I don't think are particularly good. Anger of the Gods and like Drown in Sorrow effects. People bring them in all the time. They're probably fine on the play. They're not so great on the draw. The creatures get out of range of those spells really quickly.
That's what I was about to... I'm glad you said it, because I was about to say that, and I feel better about myself now, knowing that I was at least on the correct line of reasoning that to not bring those in.
Yeah, like I've seen like people bring them in on the draw a bunch, and I'll just like crush them with like a turn 2 or a turn 1 guy that gets out of range, and then they'll just like show me the card after the game and be like, yeah, I had this in my hand the entire game, and it was just awful. And like, yeah, it's awful.
We can assume that Dan, being pretty smart to this Jeskai Heroic deck, is probably looking at those Laguna Band Trailblazers to bring in, which is a card that just stumps Anger of the Gods right away.
Yeah, and pretty much all of other Tommy's removal except for... Well, I guess Tommy has Chain to the Rocks and stuff, so... But, Dan's sideboard. He has 3 Stubborn Denial, a Negate, a Triton Tactics, a Feat of Resistance, 2 Laguna Band Trailblazers, an Erase, 1 Defiant Strike, 2 Glare of Heresies, an Ordeal of Heliod, and 2 Brimaz. Cards I like... would be the Laguna Band Trailblazers.
Mm-hmm.
I like Defiant Strike. I think that card is ridiculous, and I would play 4 at all times in my deck.
Yep.
I would never board any of them out. I think Glare of Heresy is good. Brimaz is potentially also pretty good.
Sure.
Triton Tactics might have its spot, and then, like... I don't know about Stubborn Denial. It's a deck I bring in against the Tokens deck, but Tommy's a little bit more creature-heavy, so I might not bring that one in.
I'm actually reverse. I'm okay with Stubborn Denial. I'm not okay with Triton Tactics here. And I think the reasoning is because I just saw 2 Manus Riders. Like, what is my Triton? What am I blocking with Triton Tactics? You know what I mean?
It's a fair point, but Triton Tactics is nice in that you can, like... It's another protection spell for, like, getting your guys out of burn spell range.
Okay, sure.
So, but yeah, it's not the greatest, especially when Tommy's playing a bunch of flyers. You're correct.
Don't get me wrong. I think Triton Tactics in a matchup against, like, green-red monsters or any mono-green devotion deck, or if they're trying to play the ground pound game, like, that card is brutal.
Yeah, any deck that's trying to attack you on the ground is just great. But like I said, it's also nice for getting out of Anger of the Gods range, since it essentially says, yes, that card does nothing for 1 mana. So it counters Anger of the Gods for 1 mana. Tommy get a mulligan, though. And of note, Tommy does look like Jim Davis.
Yeah, very
true. He
true.
also looks like, I think, Bam Margera?
I don't think Bam Margera is much. He does look like Steve-O. Very much like Steve-O.
I didn't watch Jackass. Did I have cable?
Probably I think he's a little smarter than Steve-O was.
I don't know.
He seems smarter. It's not to say Steve-O isn't smart. The guy cleaned up his life.
Well, I mean, like, Steve-O probably has more money than I will ever make in my entire
Correct.
life, so he's clearly doing something right.
Yeah, he's, I think, stapling his balls to wood.
Hey, man.
So, you can jump on that train.
I guess. That's not for me, but...
If we're doing a pair off here, who's Dan look like?
Dan?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll tell you what. You know what he reminds me of? Bulldog. 24/7 Bulldog.
Yeah,
he reminds me of
like
Bulldog.
A Bulldog.
He does. Body stature, walk.
Definitely.
That's a Bulldog, baby. 2 great guys, though. In the shop constantly. And talk about, as far as deck testers and grinders, though, I mean, these guys, Tommy himself has done fantastic work just not only learning Standard and kind of keeping up to date with Standard, but also learning Legacy. Huge Legacy fan.
He's pretty good at Modern, too.
Oh, yeah. Stuck to Affinity for a while.
Yeah. So, see if he can keep his 6 here. Nope, gonna ship it back. So, Tommy gonna mulligan to 5 after Dan mulligans to 5. Never a good spot to be in against the Heroic deck, since you'd like some answers to their creatures' on curve is possible.
It's very bad if they go turn 1 favorite hoplite, play a turn 2 ordeal. Like you're.
Yes.
So that's a bad play to see.
Yeah, especially if you like can't cast Wild Slash because you have a tap land or a non-mountain.
Did Tommy not have glare? How many glares does he have in his sideboard? 2?
He has 2.
That's
so he
okay.
has outs to that.
Yeah, that's all right. You know what I think a card that is overplayed a lot, as we were discussing cards that we think people bring in against the heroic deck. And this may sound weird. I don't like Erase against the heroic deck.
I agree with you.
I feel like it's super narrow, and most of the time when you see it in people's sideboards, they run like 1 or 2 of. Like, what cards are you taking out where that's really good? Where you're like, man, if I draw this 1 or 2 of negate in my 60, I can really blow him out of capping 10 life or drawing 2 cards.
I will agree with you that is the case.
It just feels...
it seems pretty low impact, but there are situations where it has been pretty good. I don't think I've ever lost because somebody erased one of my spells, though.
Right, that's what I mean.
They'll erase Ordeal of Heliod and be like, well, you could have had an actual spell, so...
Right, yeah. Anything else that impacts the board better.
Yeah. So, Tommy looks like he's got a 1-lander with 2 Secret of the Ways, a Goblin Rabblemaster, and another red card. Gonna go down to 4.
Get out of here.
Was
that 4, or is he going down to 5 now?
No, he's going down. That was his 5.
I wouldn't have even. I don't know.
I probably would have kept that hand, especially on the draw.
You have 1 land, yeah.
We can draw 2 lands, maybe 3.
I think
maybe
just
4,
keep
so we
it.
can cast the Stormbright Dragon that he thinks in our hand.
Something.
Yeah.
Something bigger.
So, not the most exciting match here.
Well, I mean, game 1 was over in 2 casts of a.
It's just magic sometimes, though, man. Got a mulligan.
Manus Rider. Jeez, what a card.
I know Brian Brown doing.
There you go.
He wrote an article today, a mailbag article, discussing, various questions. One of the questions was, you're known for keeping loose hands. Why do you keep loose hands when other people don't? And he was of the opinion that the hands that he was keeping were not that loose, and that people often mulligan too much. And that could be a case with Tommy here. Like, on the draw, you got a little more leeway if you don't have a bunch of lands, so where you can keep hands that might be a little sketchy on the play.
Sure.
So it's gotta weigh your odds there.
That's interesting.
Am I going to win with this 4? Is my 4-card hand going to be better than my 5-card hand? Can I afford to mulligan like that? So this one actually not a bad
hand.
Not a bad 4-card hand here.
But it looks like Dan's
only
on the
a 1-lander. Yeah.
If this turns into a favorite hoplite, I think we'll be in a pretty good position.
For sure, but if Tommy does hit a 2nd land, he's going to be able to glare a Heresy this guy. So, favorite hoplite, turn 1. Tommy has 2 draw steps to hit a land. That's a 3-drop. That's pretty gross.
So I have to ask, and just touching back to what you just said, what do you think's harder? Correctly mulliganing or correctly resolving a brainstorm?
I'd probably say correctly mulliganing.
Yeah.
Dan kept a 1-lander, though, so this is actually a game now.
Drew an Aqueous form, I believe.
Yeah. Tommy did draw another land, so you're just going to ship it back. Dan drew a Plains there. No, Battlefield Forge, so effectively a Plains. We'll be able to cast some of the cards in his hand. No, going to cast...
Yeah, it's an ordeal.
Going to cast an Ordeal. This is odd.
Tommy deciding
attack for 2.
Not to glare there?
Glare's a sorcery.
Oh.
Going to attack for 3.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's a sorcery.
Yikes, my bad.
Tommy
Sorry about that.
Another good card, but he can't cast that one. Chain to the Rocks requires a mountain. So Dan had the potential there to play like a Hero Varos instead of this Ordeal of Heliod, which is a play that I like.
That's a play that you've said consistently that you like, only to, once again, if you think that you are far enough ahead of your opponent to just accelerate the board state altogether.
Yeah. Like, it's better in the face of removal spells. This is awful in the face of removal spells.
Correct.
We get 2 for 1. Tommy flips over our cards.
Gets mad.
Dan should have asked to clarify if Tommy was targeting the Ordeal or the Hoplite. Dan now going to play the Hero Varos.
Protection backup or no?
He has Valorous Stance, but Tommy
found his 3rd land.
Draws a Mana Confluence, although not actually a mountain.
Still decent though, because now we have access to the Rider, right?
Yeah, and it's 2 Lightning Strikes.
Okay, so I'm all right with that.
Yeah, I would probably just fire off a Lightning Strike because they get really, really bad. soon.
The later the game goes on.
Yeah. Well, like if Dan untaps and we like cast a Mana Strider here, then they just don't do anything.
Sure.
So.
Gonna debate it. Decides that he wants to attempt to blow Dan out here.
Yep. Man, he's.
Dan's gonna
think. Nope.
doesn't want to save it.
Ugh. True an ordeal.
Do we have another creature?
Back. Nope. Tommy draws the mountain. So on a mull to 4, Tommy Tomsovic, Patriot missile. There he is.
He's
Manus,
getting it.
The Patriot missile himself.
There we go. All right. So we're kind of ahead. No,
Tommy,
we're not.
Tommy
We're
has
still...
Chain to the Rocks.
Jeez.
And another lightning strike, so he can even just like chain. So I think Dan has a Defiant Strike here, so this Stoke the Flames probably, or this lightning strike isn't all that great. No, he has 2 Valorous Stances, so gotta cast 1. Gonna make his guy indestructible. Then I imagine Tommy's just gonna chain this to the rocks.
No, he's thinking. He's going to get in first.
No, that's...
There you go.
So, Dan draws like a Glare Heresy here or something like that.
And
He's in like decent shape.
It's a Mana Confluence.
No, unfortunately the Valorous Stance in his hand doesn't kill this 3/3.
Tommy pulling a Dr. Strangelove here and just riding this Patriot missile all the way.
So Dan draws a Defiant Strike. He should probably cycle that card. Cast it on the Mana Strider.
That's a play you like. That's a line you take often. I say is you like to.
Yes, I do like to cast cards that effectively do nothing and are never going to do anything.
Correct.
In search of things that might do something, like a Glare of Heresy or a creature.
The fact that Mana Strider
3
dodges Valorous Stance is amazing.
Yeah. Now Dan's going to cycle it, I think. Sure
there you go.
Yeah. All right.
We'll draw.
See what he would have drawn. That looked like a creature.
And a land.
No, that was a Tamir Battle Rage. Yeah, Dan's...
he's dead?
Our hero. Gonna go to 2 and 2. Tommy on a mold of 4.
Can he pump the Mana Strider somehow and then Valorous Stance it?
No.
He cannot.
He could have. That was a line he could have taken last turn.
Sure. What did he just give it now?
I don't know if the ordeal's... I've never cast an ordeal on my opponent's creature.
I'm not sure what happens.
Yeah, that's Dan's line.
Right? That's what you do now, but
I don't know if it's a May. It could be a May. I've literally never done this. So Dan's gonna take a damage.
It. Okay, so he's down to 2. What did Tommy draw?
Looks like a land.
Okay.
Dan gonna draw a favorite hop.
No!
Oh man.
This might be the triumphant hero's return. Does Dan just suit it up here now, though? And
I kind of like not using that one. I kind of like using the other ordeal.
Sure.
Tommy draws a negate.
Oh, what?
What is happening?
Maybe they're checking it right now.
Yeah. Oh, he draws another ordeal.
Oh, no.
Jeez. We're doing it.
So what do you play? Hold on. So he's at 1, though.
So you cast Ordeal of Thassa first, because that's the one that doesn't matter.
And then watch it get negated.
Yeah.
Still get the heroic trigger.
Yeah.
No, he didn't do it, though.
No. Tommy, I imagine, has to negate this.
Why would he not?
Yeah. Like, this is the only card we lose to.
Okay, but Favorite Hoplite still has...
Correct.
Yeah.
Still gets the counter.
So what... Oh, no. Why didn't he cast the Ordeal of Thassa first?
I don't know. Now he needs to fetch. And,
yeah, but...
Go to 1. So, fetch, get an island, and then cast...
That's a precarious situation.
Yeah. So, like, this line makes it so now we can never cast Tamir Battle Rage, since now we're at 1.
Yep.
And we've, I think, used all 3 Ordeal of Heliod's. One of them to get negated, one of them to get exiled on our favorite hoplite, and one of them to pump up a Mana Strider. So Dan's just going to attack for 2. This is very bizarre. No, he's going to take a damage. So now he can cast no more blue spells also, until he draws an island. Maybe Dan doesn't play any islands in his deck? Going to draw 2 cards here. Yep, going to go to 1. Ooh, Tranquil Cove. Woo! We can cast spells again.
We can do it?
Yeah. So Dan at 1.
Dan is at 1 now.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Tommy's going to be taking 4? is it 2? What happened? Why would he be at 2? He took a damage from the mana confluence?
Yeah, he should be at 1. He is at 1.
Alright, so we're not crazy.
So Dan has a Tranquil Cove in his hand, so he's going to play that and go to 2. Still dead to pretty much any spell in Tommy's deck. And there's a Stormbreath Dragon. That's going to be the game.
And it's it!
So yeah, we would have, if we sequenced that better, we would have lived.
We could have maybe pulled that off.
Probably still would have died.
You think so?
To a Stormbreath Dragon? Yeah, probably.
Sure.
Especially when Tommy had 7 lands in play.
Yeah, that's true. And so even the 10 life you don't think would matter at that point, that we get off the ordeal?
No, because we'd be attacked down to, we'd be attacked to 4, and then we would be attacked for 7, plus we have cards in our hand. Yeah, we would have taken 10 damage easily from that Stormbreath Dragon. So, Tommy on a mold of 4 beats Dan again. Patriot Missile moving to 4-0. Looking to take this FNM.
I don't know. You're probably right. I guess had he went, would Tommy have taken the bait though and countered the ordeal of Thassa? I guess is the question.
Probably. Maybe not.
I don't know if he would, because he might at that point just be like, all right, well, you're going to draw some more cards, and
I don't want my opponent drawing cards.
I agree.
I don't know.
But you're riding that really thin line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. And you might be in this situation, and it's probably correct, where you drawing a million cards doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is you gaining life at this point. So you're probably right. But I don't know if Tommy would have shown that discipline or not.
Sure.
So,
that's really...
That is at the correct line, I think. The only thing that matters is the life gain ordeals at this point, since you're at 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to say, you gotta love when you get a Dan Cardenas match. Plays quick, plays clean.
Yeah.
Boom, baby, that match is over.
It's over.
That was 2 games, son.
That was 2 quick games, yeah.
Well, guys, stick around. We have finals for FNM coming up here. Should be over, hopefully, in a little bit. This round, I mean, not the stream. We'll still be here.
We'll still be here.
Yeah, definitely.
I might leave.
Where would you go?
I don't know. I might just...
You had coffee. You had noodles.
I did. But yeah, coffee's starting to wear